Hello fellas. So there's been a lot of controversy recently about fake versus real natties, because this guy and this guy are obviously on steroids, but they're trying to claim that they're not. I wanted to give my whole perspective on this as someone who, first off, doesn't really care about debating if they're real or fake, and second, as somebody who's around their age range and has been doing this for a very long time. So the whole thing with them is that people are debating it because they've not been working out for very long. I am obviously a lot smaller than them, but I'm still pretty built, and I'm almost 20. That one's 19, that one's 23, I believe. So yeah, physiologically we're about in the same point in our lives. The difference is I have been doing this since I was about 11, on and off for probably like the first 2 years, more seriously from like 13 onwards. The timeline goes somewhere like that anyway. But the point is, I do a lot of this stuff, and I was very skinny at first because I wanted to be like Bruce Lee in it. So I started because I was a chunky kid, got real skinny. That was real bad. That got me in a not nice place, which is why I'm gonna talk about all this, because I don't like training for aesthetics. Then in the past few years I started to incorporate more like just pure powerlifting stuff and other exercises that encourage fast twitch muscle growth. Alongside the other hybrid training that I do, if you want to call it that, and the martial arts stuff, I do a bit of everything, okay? And you know, genetically, I'm not very gifted for gaining muscle or losing fat all that much. I'm very much in the middle ground. So essentially, me standing here, I am the example of a completely regular person and how they look after training for a long time. So that is why I believe that these guys are, you know, therefore using something. But as I said, that is not the main point of this video. What I want to talk about is how I find it really sad that mostly young guys, but some women too, are so heavily influenced to hop on steroids. And what's really the root problem of that is the fact that everybody wants to like look perfect. Everybody wants to look like the Hulk, like Sam Sulek and these guys. I just think it's really silly. Aside from their drugs that they're using, bodybuilding isn't really the best way to be when you get to a certain size and body fat percentage. It's not very healthy for your body to maintain that physique, right? Not even just down to the total mass versus lack of energy that you're getting from the lack of fat that you have. It's not just that. It's also like the tiny little Dorito waist that they get, which I'm assuming probably leads to postural issues. And there's been a little craze in the past few years about how important posture is in fitness. Bear with me while I scratch my leg. So we should know how important that is, right? So why do, especially like young people, want to look perfect? Usually for dating and stuff like that. But I think, okay, if you're somebody who's had a glow up in your fitness, your body looks better now, you probably know this already. But the attention that you get when you do start to look better is actually from guys. Majority of the time, they're always just complimenting you and everything, and yeah, it's cool, thank you. But I think the fact that people are aware of that, and the fact that they do it anyway, shows that there is a big problem with trying to get respect and trying to be manly amongst other men. Everybody just sees each other as competition, essentially. And you see it in the whole like alpha male whatever. I think is really silly. But I just, do I have to explain why this is like so such a stupid way to go about life. Why it leads to you being an angry, unhappy individual who treats other people like an angry, unhappy individual. It's stupid, and you can see it if you just basically look around at like the people who do act like this. Do they seem happy? No. Okay? You don't have to constantly like try to be the man. So in my own experience, I want to be as strong as possible. However, not everybody needs to do that. A lot of people want to be as strong as possible, but we don't need to try and scare people away from doing exercise and like putting so much pressure on each other, because not everybody has to be the strongest. Okay? I really think everybody should do exercise in some form, but just to be healthy, just to be able to like run, to sprint, to know how to handle yourself in a fight, to lift whatever you need to lift when you're moving around. Simple things like that. And this culture that the online space is breeding currently is just really bad for that, because when there's so much pressure being applied to people and they don't fully understand that, they're gonna go the other way. They're not gonna try and push for it most of the time. And often what people use to motivate other people into getting this hench and everything is just bad, malicious, little flawed, gross ego stuff. You always see the thing about how like, no one noticed me, and then I got hench, and now I'm this and that. No one cares. Like, really, no one cares what you look like. Okay? So if you're doing it just to look good, by all means, that's a good way to start out, but you need to take the journey and understand that you can't stay stuck in one mindset, because when you do start to work like that, you're not going to get what you want. You're not going to get people falling to their feet out of respect. You're not going to get millions of women flocking to you. You're not going to get respect from like everybody in the world. Sure, like other gym guys might be like, oh, you're huge, but it's not that important, and it's not going to change your life. You simply cannot stay in that one mindset of thinking that you deserve all these things. Anyway, I just wanted to say all this from the perspective of somebody who is like, the age range, the target audience for all this kind of content and culture, I suppose. Also somebody who's been through the transformation, who's done this a long time. And yeah, I just want to say that you should just carry on being you while also going to the gym. And let that teach you how to grow as an individual, not just as the same person that you started when you began working out. That is directly contradicting the very challenge that exercise brings in itself, and you can use those challenges to bring you into a more well-rounded individual, not just a weird, angry steroid man who is dead set on tricking people, even though it's blatantly obvious that he is lying. Anyway, my phone keeps running out of storage, so I'm going to go now. Bye bye.